defeat Washington. All right. All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. It's coming on for a short one, running a little late, but that's my fault. Can't rap as much as I want to, but got some not so breaking news. You've already heard by now that the Jacksonville Jaguars have parted ways with their embattled or embroiled or embittered former GM Trent Baalke. It appears that this guy is so polarizing that the Jaguars can't find a coach that can work with them. And when I think back to Doug Peterson and how haggard he looked toward the end of the season, I can only imagine the kind of relationship he had with Baalke. And you start to wonder if Baalke is the reason that the Jaguars had so much trouble all along. Now, I've been doing those interviews with Fango Media, talking to Jaguar fans after the game, and almost to a person that we talked to, they felt that Trent Baalke was the primary reason why the Jaguars struggled, and they all pretty much wanted to see him go. Well, they got their wish yesterday because the owner abruptly fired Baalke, and the question is, why did it take him so long? If you fired Doug Peterson and you had these same questions swirling around, what has changed so much since you fired Peterson that all of a sudden you feel like Baalke has to go? Well, I'll tell you why. Ben Johnson started it all. He kind of made it known that if he's going to take a head coach job, he's going to take a position where he comes in with a GM he can work with, or the one that he comes in together with. And he didn't feel like Baalke was somebody that he can work with. And it didn't matter anyway because it's been determined that Johnson's been working with the Bears the whole time. So while everybody is excited about the possibility of him coming this way or going over there or whatever he was going to do, he already had his decision made with the Bears. And I don't think so highly about the guy, but I think that this thing with the Rooney Rule and all of that, where you have to interview certain candidates, I don't think the Bears followed that. But they did call in Eddie George at the last minute, and just clear to see that he's just there to check a box to make sure they're somewhat complying with the league rules. But it's all garbage. If I'm a head coach candidate and I'm seriously trying to get a job, I have no interest in you calling me in just so you can interview a minority coach. Either I'm qualified for the job or I'm not. Now, one advantage, as I said before, of Eddie George taking that interview was you get your name out there and, get to hone your head coaching interview skills. And I'm sure he probably did pretty well with that. But as we all know now, that Johnson already had his mind made up to go to the Bears. But the problem is for the Jaguars, you put that information out there and it became known that a lot of people secretly were talking behind everybody's back or under their breaths that nobody really wanted to work with Trent Baalke. And if that's the case, then he should have been gone a long time ago. But the straw that broke his back, the guy that they had as their leading candidate to bring in for an interview was Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. He backed away also. And the primary reason for that was Trent Baalke. So, of course, if you got a guy that's on staff and he's the one that's stopping people from coming by and wanting to talk to you, then, of course, you got to do something about that. All right. Elijah Karimi says hi. Eagles forever. Yes. Okay. Well, will the Eagles defeat Washington? Well, you know that the last time you played, they put a clamp on you in that fourth quarter and they come back and won that game. They hadn't lost since. So this is a team that's riding sky high, and they feel like they have a plan to stop the Eagles. And I think if Barkley can't get all those yards he's been getting, the Eagles might have a problem. What do you say about that, Eagles forever? But with all the negative talk about Baalke, and now he's preventing targeted candidates for giving Jacksonville a serious consideration, then something had to be done. Either Baalke had to go, or he had to be getting rid of, or he had to come out and make some kind of statement to repair his reputation, or let people know that what's being said about him is not the case. But he said nothing. So there's smoke, there's fire. And he didn't defend himself, and now he's out of a job. But where it was, he was going to retire anyway. He's 60 years old, and I'm sure it looks like somebody who came from some money, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure I'm certain he's not hurting for money. So it doesn't matter. Let somebody else have that pressure cooker. But it was a good, smart decision by Khan to get rid of Baalke. But I think it should have happened immediately after the season. He should have fired Baalke with Peterson, just clean house, and then maybe you had a better chance to get a guy like Ben Johnson. But my thoughts on Johnson, I think that Johnson is, I think he's better at being a number two. And you're going to see a lot of these coaches over the years, when they always talk about the new hottest coaching candidate, a lot of them end up falling on their face, man. All right, Eagles forever say the Eagles are just better. They are a good football team, and I think they are better. But I think Baltimore is a little bit better than Buffalo too, right? Well, who's playing this weekend? Parlay Prince says, dang, y'all, it's a talking raisin. Well, I won't respond to that. It's kind of silly, you ask me. What do you look like? I better look better than you. But I think that Barkley, if he gets his yards, then they should be able to beat the Commanders. But I think you have to take the same approach as you take against Baltimore. You got to take that run away between the tackle. And if you can take it away between the tackle, then you will force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. And right now, his performance is hurting. He's not hitting on all cylinders. He's doing well running the ball, but if you can take that run away and force him to throw, then it's problematic. It's kind of like what I've been saying about Jackson all along. You got to force him to throw to try to beat you. And the way he's playing right now, he's just not playing well enough to do that. Chicago needed a proven winning coach, not a first-time coach. Okay, how many proven winning coaches out there? I mean, who would you prefer that Chicago had signed? I mean, you never know who's going to be a good coach until you give a person the chance. I mean, you had to be a first-timer at some point. But I think that you can learn the ups and downs of how to run a program just by being in a program. You don't have to be the head coach to figure out what moves you need to make. But when you boil it all down to gravy, you don't ever know what the best moves really are. And sometimes you get lucky, a lot of times you don't. But McCarthy was available. Yeah, they talked about McCarthy, but I'm not sure if he wanted to go to the Bears. But it looks like he's going to end up in New Orleans. At least that's what the talk is. And I think that'd be a good fit. I think the Bears would have been a good fit. But everybody wants to get younger now, and everybody wants the hot shot name. And right now, Johnson is the hot shot name, and he's been most recent in that division. So the Bears know him pretty well. I don't think it's a bad hire, but I wonder if he's going to do as well as he did with Detroit. Now, he does have Caleb Williams, somebody he can work with, and because he's available, maybe he can put together an offense that fits Williams' style. Now, if you look at what Washington is doing, Daniels is the same. He's playing the same type of football, same type of offense that he ran in college. And it was an easy transition for him because the offense was the same. And once you get the terminology down, I mean, this means that, and it relates to my college offense over this way, then it's easy to make that adaptation. But a lot of these pro quarterbacks like Williams, they come in and they have to learn a new different offense, and it takes them a while to get going. And I think that's what Williams' problem is. But if you put him in the same kind of offense that Washington has, then you will see Williams flourish just the way Daniels is. But that's not the way it normally works in pro football. But with this new style quarterback, it should happen more often. So that's just my thought on that. Let's see what the poll says about will the Eagles defeat Washington. Most people say no. Eagles forever is probably going to have something to say about that, but because he already said they're just better. Maybe they are. I don't know. But that's a good thing about football. You get one chance to do whatever it is you're going to do. You can be the best team that don't show up, or you can be discounted and you can come in and shock the world. A lot of times the best teams, they do win. Oftentimes they have a lot of strife that goes with that, but they eventually come out on top. So it doesn't bode well for the Commanders, but the way that they're playing, they are confident enough that they can go in and beat Philadelphia, especially since they beat them the last time they played. It's going to be a tall order, but it's something they could do. But we'll see what happens. But just wanted to come on today, talk about the Jaguars and their slow reaction to firing Trent Baalke. I think the final straw came for the owners is when Liam Cohen backed out of a possible job placement with Jacksonville, all because he didn't want to work with Trent Baalke. Well, if you really want to be a head coach and the opportunity is there, it didn't bode well for Baalke anyway. So if you came in and you got to argue with the new head coach, he wasn't going to last anyway. So I think it wouldn't have stopped me from taking a head coach job if Baalke would have been there, because I just didn't think Baalke was long, and I proved to be right. But if you take into consideration what a high school coach may go through, can you work with that principal or the athletic director? And a lot of times it's the principal that's doing the hiring, and he'll have an athletic director in there that he may not like to hire, but because he's working for that principal, he's not going to get in the way too much. So that's the big difference between pro and high school or college. The administrators, they tend to take a back seat, but at the same time, the people that they have running the show, they can't get too far out of line or they're not going to be in that position anymore. You can't just fire $1 million coach just because attitudes don't get along in the building a whole lot of times. But it's quite different when you start talking about college and high school. The dynamics change, so that's just something I would have to consider if I'm going to take a high school job moving forward. Got an opportunity to get one, and if the opportunity is there, I'm going to take it and I'm going to win. And regardless if there's a Trent Baalke in the building or not, wouldn't stop me. So if I had the opportunity to be an NFL head coach and it was there for me to get at that time, I'm going to take that job, and we'll get around the GM later. But that's just my thoughts on that. But anyway, I just want to come on, give my thoughts about Baalke, and I don't know who the Jaguars are going to hire next. Maybe they should give the coach GM responsibilities, and maybe that would make it easier, because when you fire a coach / GM, you cleaning house when you have to get rid of that person. So it's just something to think about. Anyway, wherever you guys are in the world, hope you have a great day. If you like what I'm talking about, like, subscribe. I'll be on every morning during the week. A lot of times during the weekend, I have some previews for these conference championship games. I got some interesting thoughts I think I have some interesting thoughts I have about those upcoming contests and everything else that may occur in the sports world at the drop of a hat. So I'll be back with you with that kind of content. And until then, wherever you are in the world, you guys have a great day. This is Sports for Real, but I got to go to work. So I'm out. I think I did